Welcome everybody. In this video, I'm going to react to this video made by Young James on how to quit porn addiction using common sense in 3 minutes. For those people that don't know me, my name is Hatem. I'm a recovery coach and I've made hundreds of men quit pornography. So yeah, you can listen to me and obviously I will see if what this guy, Young James, talking about in this video, if it's actually real or not, or would it work or not? Because obviously we have a proven strategy that made a lot of people overcome porn addiction. So based on my knowledge, I will definitely see if this is the case or not for this guy. So yeah, let's start this video.
Think about what actually happens in your brain when you fap. Your brain gets a reward, a huge one. A dopamine spike so strong that almost nothing in real life can compete with it naturally. And your brain loves that reward. It remembers exactly where it came from, and it wants it again. So when you suddenly take it away, your brain doesn't just sit there quietly and accept it. It pushes you really hard. It sends urges.
Of course, this is what we call the urges, like he said. And so what happens is that you get too much dopamine overflow in your body, essentially, that will push you to go and seek even more. So that's the reason why. Even just by scrolling on social media and having girls literally dancing in a bikini or whatever, right? In general, you will still produce the amount of dopamine. Dopamine is always produced. You see, if the dopamine wasn't produced the first thing in the morning, obviously you're not gonna wake up and you're not gonna get off your bed, okay? And you're literally gonna die if your body doesn't produce actually dopamine. And so dopamine production is one of the most essential things, if not the most essential things that your body needs as a human being.
Makes you irritable and distracted. It does everything in its power to get you back on the thing that was giving it that reward.
That's true because your brain doesn't care about nothing. Your brain, if you just keep listening to your brain, the only thing that your brain wants is pleasure. Literally, your brain doesn't care about nothing. Your brain will always overthink and think that you are always in the danger. So he will always stay in his comfort zone. So that's why you have to really understand your brain on a deeper level and push your brain, obviously, right, to get off this comfort zone.
And most people at this point try fighting the brain head on, but the brain is patient and it will keep pushing until you give up and relapse or until you give it something else.
The thing here is relapse does not exist. Okay, a lot of people keep saying this relapse, relapse, relapse. Using the word relapse will make you ashamed, and being ashamed will make you have actually create this based shame identity. And so that's what happens for a lot of people that are religious. Oh, God will punish me because I relapsed. No, God will not punish you because if you just change your limiting beliefs and actually take off those limiting beliefs and change the way you think about the relapse in the first place, you will not see relapsing as something bad, obviously.
That's the part most people miss. Your brain doesn't actually care about corn specifically. It cares about the reward, the spike, the feeling of winning at something. And if you give it that same feeling through something else, something that actually pays you back in real life, it stops hunting for the old source. That's the whole secret dressed up in a complicated language by every self-help guru on the internet. Stop trying to remove the reward, replace it. For me, that was trading, building my business, and chess.
As you saw here, this is very important that I have to stop and talking about it for a quick little second here, but he said that for him, this is what worked for him. For a lot of people, that might not be the case, okay? That's why I keep saying that in our coaching program, which you can join the first link in the description, obviously, and book a free discovery call to see if you're a good fit, but basically, it has to be very personalized and it has to be very customizable. For you, for him, actually, like he said in the video, going to the gym worked for him. For another person, going to the gym will probably not work for him, okay? So it really depends on each person's perspective, beliefs, body in general.
Things that are competitive, things that have a real payoff at the end, things that gave my brain a genuine reason to chase them. When I hit a new personal record at the gym, my brain got a spike. When money came in, my brain got a huge, very huge dopamine spike.
And so what happens here for him is that his perception about life will essentially get broader and broader and bigger. And so the bigger your perception about life is, the more knowledge, the more information actually will have about life, the most likely you will overcome every other addiction because for you, there is a lot of small things that you can do that are so freaking fun to do. Essentially, for him, going to the gym, it's something that is very fun. Getting money will produce the amount of dopamine spikes the same way as watching pornography. Not really the same, but having a big dopamine spikes by getting or seeing the money in his bank, obviously.
I checkmated someone. My brain got dopamine. Now, the second piece of this is even simpler. And if you're being honest with yourself, you already know this one. Imagine a guy who decides he's done playing video games, but his PlayStation is sitting right there, turned on. He's got 3 addictive games downloaded on his phone. His setup is identical to what it was the day before. You think that guy lasts longer than a day or two? Of course not, because he changed his mind, but he didn't change his environment.
So here's the thing. You can still have PS4, the PS5 turned on, right? Right there. I literally have a PS4 there. And if it's turned on, sometimes I will probably not play with it because it depends on how you perceive the PS4 in the first place. If you are the type of person who thinks that he's addicted to video games, then you will behave like a person who is addicted. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what it's fake. If you keep telling yourself those informations like, oh, I'm addicted to video games, then essentially what's going to happen is you're going to go on play video games because the PS4 is turned on in the first place. And so it's also the amount of value that you give to the PS4 as well. If you give too much value to PS4, obviously you will go and play video games. For me, I don't like smoking, I don't drink, I've never did because I don't see value in smoking and drinking. But when I was younger, watching pornography because I was addicted for 7 years and I managed to overcome this addiction. But when I was young, that was a problem that I had because I see it or perceive it as something valuable so I can cope with my negative emotions that I had when I was young. And so that probably makes sense for a lot of people here, but environment is something that is true. For most of people, yes, environment will play a very big role because when you're going to change your environment or what you do on a daily basis, then essentially it's super easy for you to overcome this addiction.
And your environment will always beat your mindset eventually. The exact same thing applies here. If your phone is full of apps that trigger you, if you're still alone late at night with zero friction between you and the habit, if nothing around you has physically changed, then you're that guy with the PlayStation still plugged in, expecting a different result. The fix is not complicated.
Really here, it depends, but what he gonna say here is like pretty straightforward. Will it work? Yes, but not for everyone. What will work for everyone or very high percentage actually is how you perceive the things, like the value that you put, the amount of value that you're gonna put into this very specific thing that you can replace it. It can be PS4, it can be PS5, it can be your laptop, it can be pornography, it can be junk food, it can be playing video games and so on.
Delete the apps, get the phone out of the bedroom, put something better in the gap, make the bad habit require effort, and make the better option require nothing. Because the truth is, your brain is always going to take the path of least resistance. That's just how brains work. So instead of fighting that, you use it. You make the right path the easy one. You make the wrong path as difficult as possible to access. That's it. That's the whole environment strategy wrapped up in common sense. Two things. Replace the reward with something better, and change the environment so the old reward is hard to reach. Now, if you want
So here's the thing. What he said definitely makes sense, okay? Definitely, of course. For a lot of people, it's gonna work, but probably not in the long term, right? Yes, because guess what? If you just feel negative and you are in this negative, even though nothing is negative, right? But if you are in this negative environment, guess what's gonna happen? Your brain or your nervous system, right, on a deeper level, if I wanna explain it, will be on flight or fight mode. And you have to up or actually down regulate your nervous system. And how can you do this? Because your brain have been consuming pornography for all of these years. And obviously, you're gonna go and watch pornography. So what he said makes sense for people that are not really addicted. If you are addicted, and what do I mean by addicted is a person who is watching pornography, let's say, who relapse 10 more than 10 times per week. If that's your case, then you need to see what is the value that you are putting in pornography in the first place and why you're using it as a coping mechanism. Because you're not addicted, you are using porn as a coping mechanism. And essentially, you are using it as a coping mechanism because you don't know how to deal. You don't have the skill of knowing how to deal with those negative emotions, even though the negative side of emotions does not exist. Nothing is negative. It's all about how you perceive it. That's why it's all about perception and about the limiting belief that you had from other people, because most of the time, the limiting belief that you had are external. It came from other people who just learned it. Okay? Or if you feel frustrated, if you feel stressed, then it's bad. You have to go to the doctor. If you are depressed, then that's bad. You need to go to the doctor. He will give you those depressive freaking pills. Those will no work for you. It's kind of like the same thing here. He's kind of like giving those no-fap tips, you know, because I used to think that no-fap was something that will help you, but no. NoFap is the worst thing you can do if you want to overcome porn addiction as quick as possible. Trust me, it will make you very ashamed. So in general, what he said will probably work, right? For kids in general, right? Or for people that are not really addicted. But if you are addicted, you really need to go deep into these addiction. You know, I say addiction so you guys can understand, but it's not really an addiction, it's a coping mechanism. And really find the root cause of what you're doing in the first place. So yeah, that's pretty honestly. This is probably like a decent video, not really good, not really bad. I would say decent. It will work for people in general, but not for every single person, essentially, right? And so, yeah, if you are addicted to pornography and you want to quit pornography as quick as possible, then go check the first link description. Book a free discovery call, probably like 20 minutes, something like that. And we'll see if you are a good fit. Either way, you will have a lot of information that will make you overcome addiction. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. If there is a video that you want me to react on, let me know in the comments.